In the heart of a sleepless American city, a soccer legend's world stopped when he saw her, his childhood friend, now a shadow begging for coins, her eyes holding secrets he'd never forgotten. Cristiano Ronaldo stepped onto the cracked sidewalk of a bustling American city, his sneakers scuffing against the concrete. The morning air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of coffee and exhaust. He pulled his hoodie tighter, the iconic CR7 logo hidden beneath the plain grey fabric. For once, he was just a guy, not the soccer legend whose face plastered billboards worldwide. The city pulsed around him, taxis honked, pedestrians hurried with steaming cups, their breath fogging in the cool dawn. Ronaldo relished this rare anonymity, a fleeting escape from the roar of stadiums, the glare of cameras, the weight of fame. His eyes scanned the street, catching the neon glow of a diner sign, the clatter of a street vendor's cart. Life felt simple here, almost like the old days in Madeira, where dreams were just whispers in a boy's heart. Before we dive in, drop a 1 in the comments if you're ready for an emotional ride, and hit that subscribe button to join our crew. Stick around for a jaw-dropping twist at the end. Then, something stopped him cold. Time seemed to freeze, the city's hum fading to a dull buzz. His gaze locked on a woman huddled against a graffiti-streaked wall, her thin frame wrapped in a tattered coat. A chipped metal cup sat at her feet, a few coins glinting dully inside. Her face was weathered, lines etched deep like a map of too many hard years. Her hands trembled, clutching the coat against the morning chill. Ronaldo's chest tightened. He wanted to keep walking, to blend back into the crowd, but his feet wouldn't move. Something about her was familiar. Too familiar. A memory flickered, faint but sharp, like a spark in the dark. Those eyes, that soft, distant gaze. Could it be? He shook his head, trying to dismiss the thought. No way. Not here. Not like this. He took a step closer, his heart thumping louder than the city noise. The woman didn't look up, her head bowed, her graying hair falling over her face. Ronaldo's mind raced back to Madeira, to dusty streets and childhood games. To a girl who'd shared her lunch when his stomach growled, who'd laughed at his clumsy kicks during street matches, who'd believed in him when he was just a scrawny kid with big dreams and torn shoes. Sarah. Her name hit him like a shot, stealing his breath. He squinted, studying her face. The years had carved their mark, but those eyes, hazel, warm, a little sad, were unmistakable. It was her, Sarah, his friend from a lifetime ago, now sitting on this cold sidewalk, invisible to the world. Ronaldo's throat tightened. He glanced around, half expecting the world to notice, but the crowd flowed past, indifferent. A businessman in a sharp suit stepped over her cup without a glance. A jogger's earbuds drowned out her quiet existence. Ronaldo's hands clenched. How did she end up here? What happened to the girl who'd sneak him extra bread rolls, who'd cheer loudest when he scored in the neighborhood games? He took another step, his sneakers scuffing louder now. His assistant Maria trailed behind, her brows furrowed, sensing his shift in mood. "You okay, Chris?" she whispered, her voice soft but urgent. He didn't answer. His eyes were locked on Sarah, his mind wrestling with disbelief. He crouched down, his knees brushing the gritty pavement. The cold seeped through his jeans, grounding him. "Sarah?" His voice was barely a whisper, testing the name like it might break. She flinched, her head jerking up. Those hazel eyes met his, and for a moment, the world stopped. Her gaze was cloudy, worn, but something flickered in it, a spark of recognition, buried deep. She blinked, slow, like she was waking from a dream. "Chris?" Her voice cracked, thin and fragile, barely audible over the city's drone. Tears welled in her eyes, catching the morning light. Ronaldo's heart sank. It was her. No doubt now. The girl who'd been his anchor, his cheerleader, his friend when the world felt too big, was here, broken by time. He sat beside her, ignoring the curious stares from passers-by. Maria hovered nearby, her phone buzzing in her pocket, but she stayed quiet, sensing the weight of the moment. Ronaldo's mind spun. He saw flashes of their childhood. Sarah handing him a sandwich wrapped in wax paper, her teasing grin as she tossed him a soccer ball, her voice shouting his name across a dusty field. She'd been his safe place, the one who made him believe he could be more than a kid from a small island. Now she was here, her hands shaking, her coat threadbare, her dignity stripped by years of struggle. "What happened, Sarah?" he asked, his voice gentle but firm, like he was coaxing a secret from the past. She looked down, her fingers twisting the frayed hem of her coat. "Life," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It just happened." She paused, her breath hitching. "Lost my job, then my apartment. My mom passed and I had no one." Her words were heavy, each one landing like a stone in Ronaldo's chest. He wanted to ask more, to understand every step that led her here, but her eyes told him enough. Pain, loss, the kind of loneliness that eats away at you until there's nothing left. He glanced at Maria, who nodded slightly, her own eyes misty. Ronaldo stood, brushing dirt from his jeans. "Come with me," he said, holding out a hand. Sarah's eyes widened, fear and hope battling in her gaze. "Where?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Somewhere warm," he said simply. "Somewhere you don't have to be alone." She hesitated, her hand hovering over his, like she was afraid to trust the moment. A barista from a nearby coffee shop, wiping down tables, glanced over, his eyes narrowing as he recognized Ronaldo. "Yo, is that—" the barista muttered to himself, but Ronaldo didn't care. His focus was on Sarah, on the girl who'd once given him everything when she had so little. She took his hand, her grip weak but real. He helped her up, her legs unsteady, her coat slipping off one shoulder. Maria stepped forward, offering a gentle smile. "Let's get you some coffee, okay?" she said, her voice warm, like a sister's. Sarah nodded, still dazed, clutching Ronaldo's hand like it was a lifeline. They walked toward a diner across the street, its neon sign buzzing open 24/7. The bell above the door jingled as they entered, the smell of bacon and syrup wrapping around them. Ronaldo guided Sarah to a booth, its red vinyl creaking under their weight. The barista, now openly staring, pulled out his phone, but Maria shot him a look that said, "Not now." They sat, the diner's hum a soft backdrop, clinking plates, a waitress calling orders, the sizzle of a grill. Ronaldo leaned forward, his elbows on the table, his eyes locked on Sarah's. "Tell me everything," he said, his voice low, earnest. "I need to know." Sarah's hands shook as she wrapped them around a chipped mug the waitress slid in front of her. The coffee's steam curled upward, warming her face. She took a breath, then another, like she was gathering pieces of a shattered story. "It started with my job," she said, her voice steadier now. "I was a receptionist at a hotel, loved it, smiling at people, making their day better. Then the place got bought out. New owners, new rules. They let half of us go." She paused, sipping the coffee, her eyes distant. "I tried to find work, but nothing stuck. Bills piled up. My mom got sick, and I spent everything on her hospital bills. When she passed, I had nothing left. No family, no savings. The landlord kicked me out. Been on the streets since." Her voice cracked on the last word, and she looked away, ashamed. Ronaldo's jaw tightened. He saw her pain, raw and unfiltered, and it hit him harder than any loss on the field. Maria, sitting beside him, reached across the table, squeezing Sarah's hand. "You're not alone anymore," Maria said softly. Ronaldo leaned back, his mind racing. He'd faced defenders, crowds, pressure that could crush most people, but this was different. This was personal. Sarah wasn't just a stranger on the street. She was part of his story, part of the kid he used to be. He thought of Madeira, of the nights he'd gone to bed hungry, of Sarah slipping him an apple or a piece of bread when no one was looking. She'd never asked for anything in return. Now, she was here, and he had the power to change her life. But where to start? The diner's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a soft glow on Sarah's face. She looked older than her years, but there was still a trace of the girl he knew. The girl who'd laughed so hard she'd snorted, who'd drawn silly doodles on his school books. Ronaldo's heart ached. He wanted to fix this, to give her back the life she deserved. "You're not staying out there tonight," he said, his voice firm, like he was calling a play. "We're getting you a place to sleep, some food, a hot shower." Sarah's eyes flickered with doubt, But there was something in Ronaldo's tone, steady, certain, that made her nod. Maria pulled out her phone, already texting someone on Ronaldo's team. "I'll call the hotel," she said, her fingers flying. "We'll get a suite ready." Ronaldo nodded, grateful for her quick thinking. He looked back at Sarah, who was staring into her coffee like it held answers. "Why didn't you ask for help?" he asked, not accusing, just curious. She smiled, a sad, tired curve of her lips. "Who would I ask, Chris? Everyone's got their own problems. I didn't want to be a burden." Her words stung, sharp and honest. Ronaldo knew that feeling, the fear of being too much, of not being enough. The waitress, a woman with a kind face and a name tag reading Linda, refilled their mugs. "You folks okay?" she asked, her eyes lingering on Sarah's worn coat. Ronaldo nodded, slipping her a generous tip under the saucer. "We're good," he said, his smile easy, but his mind heavy. Linda walked away, humming softly, and Ronaldo turned back to Sarah. "You were never a burden to me," he said, his voice low, almost a vow. "Back then, you were my family. You gave me hope when I had nothing. Now it's my turn." Sarah's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, they weren't just from pain. There was a flicker of something else, relief maybe, or the first stirrings of trust. She reached for his hand, her fingers cold but steady. "I never forgot you, Chris," she whispered. "Even when things got bad, I'd see your face on TV scoring goals and I'd smile. Made me feel like I did something right once." Ronaldo's throat burned. He squeezed her hand, his calloused fingers wrapping around hers. "You did everything right," he said. "And I'm not letting you go through this alone anymore." They sat there, the diner's warmth wrapping around them like a blanket. Maria's phone buzzed with a confirmation. The hotel was ready. Ronaldo stood, offering Sarah his arm. She took it, her steps slow but surer now. As they left the diner, the barista watched, his phone still in hand, but he didn't snap a photo. Something about the moment felt too real, too raw to capture. The bell jingled again as they stepped back into the city, the morning sun climbing higher. Ronaldo felt the weight of Sarah's hand on his arm, the weight of her story in his heart. This wasn't just a chance encounter, this was a chance to make things right, and he wasn't going to let it slip away. 2. The diner's warmth lingered on Ronaldo's skin as he led Sarah out into the crisp city air. Her hand rested lightly on his arm, her steps hesitant, like she was still testing the ground beneath her. The morning sun cast long shadows across the sidewalk, glinting off the chipped metal cup Sarah had left behind. Ronaldo's assistant, Maria, walked beside them, her phone buzzing with notifications, but her focus stayed on Sarah. The city pulsed. Horns blared, a street performer strummed a guitar, and a delivery truck rumbled past. Ronaldo felt the weight of Sarah's story pressing against his chest, a mix of guilt and resolve. She'd been his rock once, a girl who shared her lunch when he had nothing. Now, she was a shadow of that girl, worn thin by life's cruelty. He wasn't going to let her fade away. They crossed the street, weaving through a crowd of tourists, snapping photos of a mural. Sarah's eyes darted around, wide and wary, like she didn't belong in this vibrant chaos. Ronaldo squeezed her arm gently. "You're okay," he said, his voice low, steady. She nodded, but her grip tightened, her fingers cold against his sleeve. Maria glanced at Ronaldo, her expression soft but urgent. "The hotel's ready," she said, slipping her phone into her pocket. "They've got a suite, top floor. Everything's set." Ronaldo nodded, his jaw tight. A suite wasn't enough, not yet, but it was a start. The trio reached a sleek black SUV parked at the corner, its tinted windows reflecting the city's blur. The driver, a broad-shouldered man named Tony, opened the door with a nod. He hesitated when he saw Sarah, her tattered coat stark against the car's polished exterior. Ronaldo caught the look. "She's with me," he said, his tone firm, eyes locking with Tony's. "Treat her like family." Tony nodded quickly, his face softening. "Of course, Mr. Ronaldo," he said, holding the door wider. Sarah climbed in, her movements slow, like she was stepping into a dream she didn't trust. Ronaldo slid in beside her, Maria taking the front seat. The SUV purred to life, pulling into traffic, the city sliding past in a blur of glass and steel. Inside, the car was warm, the leather seats soft under Sarah's trembling hands. She stared out the window, her reflection faint against the tinted glass. Skyscrapers loomed, their peaks lost in the morning haze. Ronaldo watched her, his mind racing. He saw flashes of their childhood, Sarah tossing him a soccer ball, her laughter echoing across a dusty field in Madeira. She'd been fearless then, her smile bright enough to light up the darkest days. Now, her face was etched with lines, her eyes heavy with unspoken pain. He wanted to ask more, to peel back the years, but he waited. She'd talk when she was ready. Maria turned in her seat, her voice gentle. "Sarah, you want anything specific at the hotel? Food, clothes, anything?" Sarah blinked, like the question was a foreign language. I don't know," she said, her voice small. "A shower, maybe?" Her cheeks flushed, and she looked down, twisting her fingers. Ronaldo's heart ached. A shower. Such a simple thing, yet for her it was a luxury. He leaned forward, catching Maria's eye. "Make sure she has everything, clothes, toiletries, the works, and get a doctor to check on her." Maria nodded, already typing on her phone. The SUV pulled up to a hotel, its glass facade gleaming in the sunlight. The sign read, "The Grand Haven," its letters bold and gold. A doorman in a crisp uniform rushed to open the door, his smile practiced but warm. Ronaldo stepped out first, offering Sarah his hand. She hesitated, her eyes scanning the towering building, the polished marble steps. "This is too much, Chris," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I don't belong here." Ronaldo crouched to her level, his eyes steady. "You belong wherever I am," he said, "and I'm not leaving you out there." Her lips trembled, but she took his hand, stepping onto the sidewalk like she was crossing a threshold into another world. Inside, the lobby was a symphony of elegance. Chandeliers sparkled, soft jazz drifted from hidden speakers, and the air smelled faintly of lavender. Sarah's sneakers squeaked against the marble floor, drawing a few glances from guests in tailored suits and designer dresses. She shrank into her coat, her shoulders hunching. Ronaldo noticed, his jaw tightening. He placed a hand on her back, guiding her toward the reception desk. Maria was already there, speaking in hushed tones to a receptionist named Claire, whose name tag gleamed under the lights. Claire nodded, handing over a keycard. "The suite's ready, Mr. Ronaldo," she said, her voice professional but kind. "And we've arranged everything you requested." Ronaldo turned to Sarah, holding up the keycard. "Your room's upstairs," he said. "Hot shower, fresh clothes, food, whatever you need." Sarah's eyes widened, a tear slipping down her cheek. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Ronaldo paused, his throat tight. "Because you did it for me," he said. "When I was a kid, you gave me your lunch, your time, your belief. You saw me when no one else did. Now it's my turn to see you." Her breath hitched, and she looked away, wiping her face with the back of her hand. They took the elevator to the top floor, the soft hum filling the silence. Maria stood quietly, her eyes soft with empathy. When the doors opened, they stepped into a hallway lined with plush carpet and modern art. The suite was at the end, its door a sleek slab of dark wood. Ronaldo swiped the keycard, pushing the door open. The room was a haven, floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the city skyline. A king-sized bed draped in white linens, a basket of fresh fruit on a glass table. Sarah froze in the doorway, her eyes wide. This is for me?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ronaldo nodded, stepping aside. "All yours." Maria guided Sarah inside, pointing out the bathroom. "Showers in there," she said. "Towels, soaps, everything stocked. And we've got clothes coming up, jeans, sweaters, whatever you like." Sarah nodded, still dazed, clutching her coat like a shield. Ronaldo lingered by the window, watching the city below. Cars crawled like ants, people moved in waves, oblivious to the moment unfolding here. He turned back to Sarah, who was still standing in the center of the room like she was afraid to touch anything. "Go on," he said, his voice gentle. Get cleaned up. We'll talk after. Sarah nodded, disappearing into the bathroom. The door clicked shut, and Ronaldo heard the faint rush of water. He sank into a chair, his elbows on his knees, his head in his hands. Maria sat across from him, her expression heavy. "You okay, Chris?" she asked. He shook his head, his voice low. "She was my family, Maria, back when I had nothing. How did I not know she was out there like this?" Maria leaned forward, her voice steady. "You're here now. That's what matters." Ronaldo nodded, but the guilt gnawed at him, sharp and relentless. A knock at the door broke the silence. Maria answered, revealing a hotel staff member with a cart of clothes, soft sweaters, jeans, a warm jacket, all neatly folded. Behind him was a tray of food, steaming soup, fresh bread, a slice of chocolate cake. Ronaldo's lips twitched into a small smile. Sarah used to love chocolate. He remembered her sneaking him a piece of her birthday cake, her grin wide as she whispered, "Don't tell anyone." The memory stung, sweet and bitter all at once. Maria thanked the staff member who left with a quiet nod. Ronaldo's phone buzzed, a text from an old friend, Coach Daniels, his first soccer coach in Madeira. He'd moved to the States years ago, running a youth program in the city. Ronaldo's fingers hovered over the screen. Coach would know how to help Sarah, how to connect her with people who could rebuild her life. He typed a quick message, "Need your help. Found an old friend. She's in trouble." The reply came fast. "Name the time and place. I'm there." Ronaldo exhaled, a flicker of hope cutting through the weight in his chest. The bathroom door opened, and Sarah stepped out, her hair damp, her face cleaner but still tired. She wore a hotel robe, its white fabric swallowing her thin frame. She looked at Ronaldo, then at the cart of clothes and food, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Chris, I don't know what to say," she said, her voice breaking. Ronaldo stood, crossing the room in 2 strides. "You don't have to say anything," he said. "Just eat. Rest. We'll figure out the rest together." They sat at the table, the city skyline glowing behind them. Sarah sipped the soup, her hands steadier now, the warmth bringing a faint flush to her cheeks. Ronaldo watched, his mind drifting back to their childhood. He remembered a game they used to play, tossing a small ball back and forth, making up silly rules to make each other laugh. "You remember that game?" he asked, his voice soft. "The one where we'd try to bounce the ball off the wall without dropping it?" Sarah's lips curved into a small smile, the first real one he'd seen. "Yeah," she said. "You were terrible at it." Ronaldo laughed, the sound easing the tension in the room. "I was not," he said, feigning offense. "You just made the rules impossible." Sarah's smile grew, a spark of the old her shining through. She reached for a piece of bread, tearing it slowly. "I used to think about those days," she said, "when things got bad. Kept me going, you know? Remembering you, how you never gave up." Ronaldo's throat tightened. He wanted to say something, but the words caught, heavy with emotion. Maria, sensing the moment, stood. "I'll check on the doctor," she said, slipping out of the room. Ronaldo and Sarah were alone now, the city's hum a faint backdrop. Sarah set down her spoon, her eyes meeting his. "I never thought I'd see you again," she said. "Not like this." Ronaldo leaned forward, his voice steady. "I'm here now, Sarah, and I'm not going anywhere until you're okay." Her eyes shimmered with tears, but she nodded, a quiet trust settling between them. The doctor arrived soon after, a kind woman named Dr. Ellis, who checked Sarah's vitals with gentle efficiency. Ronaldo watched from the corner, his arms crossed, his mind racing with plans. A hotel suite was a start, but Sarah needed more. A home, a purpose, a chance to rebuild. He thought of Coach Daniels, of the youth program, of the community that could embrace her. As Dr. Ellis packed up, she gave Ronaldo a nod. "She's malnourished, exhausted, but she'll be okay with care," she said. Ronaldo thanked her, his resolve hardening. Sarah finished her meal, her eyes brighter now, though still cautious. Ronaldo sat across from her, his elbows on the table. "I'm calling an old friend tomorrow," he said. "Coach Daniels. He runs a program here, helps people get back on their feet. He'll know what to do." Sarah's brow furrowed, but she nodded. Okay, she said softly. I trust you. Those words hit Ronaldo hard, a reminder of the bond they'd shared, the bond he'd almost lost to time. The suite was quiet now, the city lights twinkling outside. Sarah leaned back in her chair, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea. Ronaldo watched her, seeing glimpses of the girl she'd been, the girl who'd given him hope when he had none. He wasn't just helping her out of guilt. This was about gratitude, about paying forward the kindness that had shaped him. As Sarah sipped her tea, her shoulders relaxing, Ronaldo knew this was only the beginning. He'd give her more than a room, more than a meal. He'd give her a chance to live again. 3. The morning sun poured through the hotel suite's windows, painting the room in soft gold. Sarah sat on the edge of the bed, her hands smoothing the crisp white sheets, her eyes tracing the skyline beyond the glass. For the first time in years, she'd slept without fear, without the bite of cold concrete beneath her. The aroma of fresh coffee drifted from a tray on the table where a note from Ronaldo lay. Meet me downstairs when you're ready. We've got a big day. Chris. Her fingers lingered on the paper, his familiar scrawl stirring memories of childhood notes passed in class. She smiled, a small, fragile thing, but real. She wasn't invisible anymore. Downstairs, Ronaldo waited in the lobby, his black cap pulled low, though his presence still drew glances from guests. Maria stood beside him, scrolling through her phone, coordinating logistics with her usual quiet efficiency. When Sarah appeared, dressed in a new sweater and jeans from the clothes they'd provided, Ronaldo's face lit up. You look good, Sarah, he said, his voice warm, teasing. She blushed, tugging at the sweater's hem. Feels strange, she admitted, like I'm borrowing someone else's life. Ronaldo shook his head, his eyes steady. This is your life now. Let's make it count. They stepped outside, the city alive with morning energy. Buses rumbled, pigeons scattered, a street vendor's call cut through the air. The black SUV waited, Tony at the wheel, his smile genuine this time, as he opened the door for Sarah. Morning, ma'am, he said, tipping his cap. Sarah hesitated, then returned a shy nod, climbing in. Ronaldo slid in beside her, Maria in front, and the car pulled into traffic, heading toward a community center on the city's edge. Ronaldo leaned toward Sarah, his voice low. I want you to see something I'm part of, he said. It's a place for kids, but it's more than that. It's about second chances. Sarah's eyes flicked to his, curious but guarded. She nodded, clutching the strap of a new backpack Maria had slipped her, filled with essentials and a sketch pad she hadn't touched in years. The community center was a sprawl of green fields and brick buildings, buzzing with kids' laughter and the thwack of soccer balls. Ronaldo's youth program logo, a stylized ball with wings, adorned a sign at the entrance. As they stepped out, a group of kids spotted Ronaldo, their shouts erupting. CR7! Yo, it's him! They swarmed, holding out phones and soccer balls for autographs. Ronaldo grinned, his charisma effortless, signing and fist-bumping, but his eyes kept drifting to Sarah, making sure she wasn't overwhelmed. She stood back, her hands in her pockets, watching the chaos with a faint smile. A man approached, his grey hair cropped short, his whistle dangling from a lanyard. Coach Daniels, Ronaldo's old mentor from Madeira, now running the program. His face crinkled with a grin as he clapped Ronaldo on the shoulder. You're late, kid, he teased, his voice gravelly but warm. Then he turned to Sarah, his eyes softening. You must be Sarah. Chris told me about you. She froze, unsure, but his handshake was firm, kind. Heard you were his biggest fan back in the day, Daniel said, winking. Sarah's lips twitched. He was okay, she said, her voice lightening. Ronaldo laughed, the sound easing her nerves. Daniels led them to a field where kids were running drills, their sneakers kicking up dust. Ronaldo joined in, passing balls with precision, his laughter mingling with theirs. Sarah watched, her heart stirring. She remembered him as a boy, all skinny legs and big dreams, practicing until dark. She'd been there, cheering, believing. Now, he was a legend, yet here he was, just Chris, playing with kids like nothing had changed. Daniels leaned toward her. He never forgot you, he said quietly. Told me once you gave him hope when he had none. Sarah's throat tightened, her eyes stinging. She looked away, blinking hard. Ronaldo jogged over, a soccer ball tucked under his arm. Come on, Sarah, he said, tossing her the ball. Show these kids how it's done. She caught it, surprised, her hands remembering the feel of it from their childhood games. The kids cheered, chanting, Go, Sarah! Hesitant, she kicked the ball lightly, her movements rusty but sure. A girl with braids, maybe 10, ran up, grinning. You're good, lady, she said. Sarah laughed, a sound so rare it startled her. For a moment, she wasn't the woman from the streets. She was Sarah, the girl who'd once ruled the neighborhood games. After the drills, Daniels gathered everyone in a shaded pavilion. Ronaldo stood, his voice carrying over the chatter. This is Sarah, he said, his arm around her shoulders. She's family. She believed in me when I was just a kid with no shoes. She's why I'm here. The kids clapped, their eyes wide, calling her Auntie Sarah. Her face burned, but her smile grew, real and warm. Daniel stepped up, his voice steady. Sarah, we've got a place for you here. Art classes, community projects. You ever think about teaching kids? Sarah blinked, stunned. I used to paint, she said softly. A long time ago. Ronaldo's eyes lit up. You still can, he said. And you will. They left the center, the kids' cheers echoing behind them. The SUV took them to a quiet street lined with tidy houses, their lawns green and welcoming. Ronaldo had been texting all morning, his plans coming together. They stopped at a small apartment building, its brick facade warm in the afternoon light. A woman waited outside, her glasses perched on her nose, a clipboard in hand. Miss Thompson, she introduced herself, her smile bright. I run the local art program. Cristiano says you're an artist. Sarah's cheeks flushed. I haven't painted in years, she said, her voice small. Miss Thompson waved a hand. Doesn't matter. Talent like that doesn't go away. Ronaldo led them inside, up a staircase to a corner apartment. He pushed open the door, revealing a sunlit space, hardwood floors, a cozy couch, a kitchen with a gleaming fridge. A small easel stood by the window, a stack of blank canvases beside it. Sarah froze, her breath catching. What is this? She asked, her voice trembling. Ronaldo handed her a key, his eyes steady. It's yours, he said. Your home, your fresh start. Sarah's hand shook as she took the key, tears spilling down her cheeks. Chris, I can't, she started, but he cut her off. You can. You deserve this. Always have. Miss Thompson stepped forward, her voice gentle. We've got an art class starting next week. Kids from the center. They'd love to have you teach, even just a little, no pressure. Sarah's eyes flicked to the easel, then back to Ronaldo. She saw the boy she'd known, the one who'd never quit, now giving her the same belief he'd carried all those years. She nodded, her voice barely a whisper. I'll try. Ronaldo grinned, his chest lightening. That's all I ask, he said. They spent the afternoon in the apartment, Sarah touching everything, the soft throw on the couch, the cool countertop, the paintbrushes waiting to be used. Ms. Thompson left with a promise to follow up, her clipboard tucked under her arm. Maria, who'd been quiet, spoke up. You're going to be amazing, Sarah, she said, her eyes bright. Sarah smiled, tentative but hopeful. Ronaldo watched her, his heart full. This wasn't just about a home or a job. It was about giving Sarah back her dignity, her purpose. That evening, the community center hosted a small event, a barbecue for the kids and their families. Ronaldo insisted Sarah come, his arm around her as they walked in. The air smelled of grilled burgers and fresh grass, music thumping from a speaker. Kids ran up, tugging Sarah toward a table covered in art supplies. Show us how to draw, Auntie Sarah, they begged. She hesitated, then picked up a pencil, her hand shaky but sure. She sketched a simple soccer ball, the lines bold and clean. The kids cheered, crowding around, their energy infectious. Ronaldo stood back, watching with Daniels. She's got something special, Daniels said, his voice low. You did good, Chris. Ronaldo nodded, his eyes on Sarah. She was laughing now, helping a boy draw a lopsided goalpost, her face alive in a way he hadn't seen in years. He thought of their childhood, of her sneaking him snacks, of her voice cheering him on. She'd given him hope when he was nothing. Now, he'd given it back. As the sun set, casting an orange glow over the field, Sarah walked over, her sketchpad under her arm. "Thank you, Chris," she said, her voice steady for the first time, "for seeing me." Ronaldo pulled her into a hug, his voice thick. "You saw me first," he said. "This is just the start, Sarah. You're gonna shine." She nodded against his shoulder, her tears soaking his shirt, but they were tears of relief, of possibility. The kids' laughter echoed, the music played on, and for the first time in years, Sarah felt like she belonged. The story of Ronaldo's redemption is a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of kindness, gratitude, and human connection. It stirs a range of emotions: heartache for Sarah's struggles, awe at Ronaldo's compassion, and hope for the possibility of second chances. The narrative, rooted in a chance reunion between a global soccer icon and his childhood friend, unfolds with raw authenticity, resonating deeply with American values of redemption, community, and the belief that one person's actions can change a life. As I reflect on this story, several key lessons emerge that can be applied to everyday life, inspiring us to act with empathy and purpose. First, the story underscores the importance of remembering our roots. Ronaldo, despite his fame and wealth, never forgot Sarah, the girl who shared her lunch when he was just a boy with dreams bigger than his circumstances. Her small acts of kindness, giving him food, cheering him on, shaped his path, and years later he repaid that debt with profound generosity. This teaches us to stay connected to our past, to honor those who supported us when we had little. In our own lives, we can apply this by reaching out to old friends, mentors, or neighbors who made a difference, even in small ways. A phone call, a thank you note, or a simple gesture of appreciation can keep those bonds alive and remind us of who we are. Second, Ronaldo's actions highlight the power of seeing the invisible. Sarah, homeless and overlooked by the bustling city, was someone the world had forgotten. Yet Ronaldo saw her, not just as a stranger in need, but as a person with a story, a past, and a future. This challenges us to look beyond appearances and notice those society often ignores: the homeless, the struggling, the quiet ones in our communities. In American culture, where individualism can sometimes overshadow collective care, this lesson is vital. We can act on it by volunteering at a local shelter, donating to community programs, or simply offering a kind word to someone who seems alone. Small gestures can restore dignity and spark hope. Third, the story emphasizes that true help goes beyond charity. It's about empowering others to rebuild. Ronaldo didn't just give Sarah a meal or a room. He gave her a home, a chance to pursue her passion for art, and a community to belong to. This reflects a core American value: the belief in second chances and the ability to start over. We can apply this by supporting others, not just with temporary aid, but with opportunities for growth. Whether it's mentoring a young person, helping a friend find a job, or connecting someone to resources like job training or education. Empowerment creates lasting change, turning moments of kindness into lifelong transformations. Finally, the story reminds us that gratitude is a two-way street. Ronaldo's actions were driven by gratitude for Sarah's past kindness, but Sarah's resilience and willingness to accept help also showed her strength. Their friendship, rekindled after years, proves that gratitude can bridge time and circumstance. In our lives, we can cultivate this by expressing thanks to those who help us and being open to receiving support when we need it. This mutual vulnerability strengthens relationships and builds trust, whether with family, friends, or strangers. Applying these lessons requires action. Start small. Reach out to someone from your past, thank a teacher, or reconnect with a friend. Look around your community. Notice the people who need a hand, a smile, or a moment of your time. Volunteer at a local organization, like a community center or food bank, where you can empower others. And practice gratitude daily, both giving and receiving it, to foster deeper connections. These steps, inspired by Ronaldo's compassion, can ripple outward, creating a more caring, connected world. If this story of Ronaldo's redemption touched your heart, hit that like button to spread the love. Share this video with your friends to inspire them to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss another story that reminds us of the power of kindness. Drop a comment below, tell us what you'd do in Ronaldo's shoes, or share a time someone's kindness changed your life. Let's keep this conversation going and make the world a brighter place, one act at a time.